Well, I have one of my Loadmasters set up to load 3220 Winchester today. This is my Loadmaster number 3, and I've been shooting 3220 in one of my Thompson Center contender barrels. It's a 10-inch barrel that I've been using in field pistol for silhouette shooting. And the Thompson Center version of 3220 is made for the 308 diameter bullet. It gives you a little bit more versatility in bullet selection than a 32 caliber would. And I'm using a Barry's 110 grain full metal jacket, round nose if you will. It's a 30 carbine bullet. It seems to fly real well with a light charge of 4227. I've had them up a little faster, but I've found that I really don't need the performance, so I've taken it back down, reduced the velocity a little bit. And up here on my setup card and load card, you can see what I've got. On station number 1, I have a Lee full-length sizing die for 3220. It's backed out approximately 60 thousandths, so I'm mostly just touching the neck and a little bit of the body. I'm not moving the shoulder. I like the cases to head space off the rim and the shoulder at the same time. In station number 2, I'm priming with a old Herter's small rifle primer. I've got a whole bunch of these. It's a good way to use them up. And I'm also using a Lee Universal case expanding die in station number 2 just to put a very, very small mouth bell on the case to make seating the bullet just a little bit easier. Station number 3 is the powder through die, the charging die, the Lee Auto Disc powder measure on a 1.09 cavity for 13.5 grains of IMR 4227. I come around to the seating station, just a standard Lee seating die, backed up so I don't touch the crimp ring. Once again, it's this 110 grain Barry's bullet, and I'm seating them to 1.70 as the cartridge overall length, I believe. Yeah, 1.7 is what we've got. And then we've got the factory crimp die in the 5th station. So let's run a couple, and you can see how it goes. I like Lee Loadmasters. You'll hear some people that don't. The key thing is just keep an eye and make sure your primer tray is full, not only so you don't run out, but if you get the primer tray loop too low, they won't run down the tube that well, or the trough, if you will, to feed nicely. But other than that, it's just keeping an eye on things and making sure you have powder charges. This size case is real nice because I can see in the mouth of the case there that I do have powder. So that's all good. In good shape on primers. You can see the primers in the chute over there. Just make sure that they're coming down the chute. Every once in a while you'll get a case that tips over there, and that's because I'm using a pusher that's a little bit too large. I didn't find one that had a smaller mouth, if you will. So you just got to keep an eye on things. It looks like I should make that a little tighter. I just set this up and I didn't really crank things down real tight. I'll grab a 7/16 wrench here. I don't get too overzealous with my tightening things down, especially if I'm going to be changing the setup a lot. Okay, where was I? Time to see the bullet. And I'm going to turn this back in just a little bit, about right there. That looks good to me. So, you know, that's all I've run so far in the setup. It took me, you know, one shell plate full to get the setup going. Not a big deal. But now it's just a matter of running them. So if you kind of mind your P's and Q's and just use a steady rhythm, not too fast, not too slow. These presses seem to index the best when you just kind of run them. I run a lot of different cartridges on the Pro 1000 and the Loadmaster, and I enjoy running these presses. So now we've run a few, let's just take a look and see how they're doing. Good primer seating there. It all looks fine. Yep, I think that's going to be fine. So I have 50 pieces of that Remington Peters brass to run, so I'll get those taken care of. Then I'll switch over to some others. Unfortunately, this Winchester brass is it came right out of the bag very short, and once I evened them all up, they're about 70 thousandths short. They're so short, as a matter of fact, that throwing the powder charge is a bit of a problem. So I'll probably have to powder charge these manually. So maybe what I'll do is I could just put a manually thrown powder measure right here on the press, or maybe run the other stations and then put them back through to do the seating, and I'll figure something out to get those run that are too short. But these normal length ones, we've got a good setup, and that ammo is coming out just fine. We'll run a few more here.